Alright, you guys, it is Thursday here on Horoscope, and it is Witch/Warlock week. I had a hard time coming up with a movie. I was just I had to go on to the internet and look for a list and try to find one. I thought I had picked my title, but I actually switched it up at the last minute. I went with Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters. This is the unrated cut. I actually picked this up today at Target. Target has the Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray for $13, which is a great deal for a brand new release. But they did have one of these left, the Target exclusive digibook. So I decided to go with this one. It's unrated. It has the Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray DVD, digital copy, and of course it's the digibook. This is the first Paramount digibook that I've ever had, and they did it. It's nice. It's sturdy. I've seen, as far as digibooks go, I would put Warner Brothers at the top of favorite companies as far as puts out digibooks. But this one, it's solid. It's got a solid spine. You've got 2 discs in the back. You've got, let's see if I can even get some of these pages in there. Nice pictures and whatnot in the middle for your little book part. And then you've got I believe this is the 3D in the front. Yeah. So I went with this title. And I gotta tell you, now I remember when this came out in the theaters, and I never really gave it a second thought. I really thought, oh, this is just kind of one of those cheesy movies. Whatever. But picked it up, we watched it tonight, and I was entertained. From beginning to end, I was entertained. Now, there are a lot of pros to this movie. There are a couple cons, and I'll get to the cons, but let's start with the pros. It's go from the beginning of the movie. It starts out with Hansel and Gretel. They're, young kids, like 9-10 years old. You find out the whole story throughout the movie, but the father kind of deserts them. They live in the woods. They wander off to a witch's house. She lives in the candy house, and of course she tries to cook the kids and eat them, which is just it's so demented. But the kids fight back. They end up killing the witch, and they get away. This isn't really spoiling anything. It's just the beginning of the movie. And they grow up through, childhood, adolescence, and then adulthood, and they are, they're witch hunters. They go from town to town. They're kind of like, bounty hunters, but for witches. So they go village to village, and they kill all these witches. And they come to this one town that has hired them because, the witches, but it's mostly one witch, is kidnapping all these kids. And of course there's a reason behind it. But what I liked about the film was, I don't think it wasn't they didn't try to be anything that it wasn't. It's just it's an action movie. You've got witches, you've got gore, way more gore than I expected from this flick. I thought it was just going to be kind of a tame, even though it's unrated, I thought it was still going to be pretty tame, but way more gore than I thought. It was action, action, action. You had a few just little lulls in the film. They took little breaks, but those breaks even furthered the storyline. You learned a little bit of the backstory during each lull of what was going on with Hansel and Gretel, which was nice. And then they went right back to the action. I liked there were some practical effects. The troll, it was a practical mask and get up and everything, so that looked really good. But then of course they mix it in with the special effects during some scenes. That was cool. And overall, the story was fun. It had humor, it had action, it had some gore, and, the bad guys, whether it was witches or just townspeople, the bad guys were true bad guys. There was no reason for you to like those characters at all. Now, some of the cons of the movie, you know, for me, Jeremy Renner, to me, seemed kind of out of place in this movie. He did a fine job. You know, it's not like he did a poor job in the role, but he almost seemed a little miscast. There was that, a little too much, you know, computer-generated effects going on, especially towards the end of the movie. I dug it towards, you know, the beginning and the middle, but then at the end it got to be a little too much and just a little bit too hokey. But nothing that took me off track of the film. It's just kind of nitpicking. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more practical effects out of the film. You know, otherwise the length of the film was fine. Everything was good. I recommend buying this one, not just, you know, redboxing it. This is, for me, this is a film that, you know, I could watch a couple times a year, especially around fall, Halloween time. This one would be perfect. So yeah, so there we go. Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters. And you know what? I mean, if you can find this digibook at Target, I recommend picking it up. You got the whole kit and caboodle in here, and it's a digibook. You get the unrated cut, and you know, I should have done some homework, but I didn't check to see exactly how much, you know, footage was added in here. But yeah, it was a good flick. It really was. And then you had, oh, you know who else? You had, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Famke? How do you pronounce her name? Famke? I don't know. The girl from X-Men. She played one of the witches. She played like the main bad witch. She played it very well. So that was another plus. Anyways, I'm rambling. Please check it out. Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Check out everyone else's videos this week. And I hope you're doing well. I will catch you next time.